Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Casper. Just finished Rocky Balboa, aka the last Rocky movie, and unbelievable. So this video, I'm just gonna give you the rundown of what I thought about it. Let's just get straight to it. Let's start off from the beginning. First of all, my excitement to see this movie was just out the roof because it's the final one from this franchise, and really the anticipation was very real. The beginning, how they showed the cast, the swagger of that, and how they positioned it was very on point. The difference here that I caught right away, this Rocky movie, the last one, didn't have a continuation from the last movie. Started seeing basically a new start, and I didn't see any flashbacks from the last movie. So that was the first thing that I saw and noticed. Thing that caught my eye right away while I was watching it, while they're introducing all the people involved in the movie in the beginning credits. I did not see Talia Shire, aka Adrian. While I was watching it, I'm like, yo, where's Adrian? I didn't see Adrian get introduced. And I'm watching it with my boy, and I told him, I'm like, yo, I didn't see Adrian. And he just gave me just a blank look in sense of like, just wait for it. And I knew something was about to happen, and boom. So he didn't tell me what happened. He didn't spoil it at all. And then right away, the beginning of Rocky, you see Rocky Balboa sitting in front of Adrian's gravestone. Unbelievable. Crazy how they went that route. Goosebumps like crazy. Very sad. I couldn't believe it. Not only that, you see Paulie right there too in the beginning. I was just blown away, shocked like crazy to see that Adrian passed away from seeing all these movies. Very, very sad. And it was one of those things that you felt like you lost someone as well, because you were connecting and seeing the growth with her. Going with that decision was crazy, but it definitely added an emphasis for sure. Another thing I noticed right away is Rocky Balboa is now way older, and his aging in this movie is very obvious, and I'm just like, wow, you can tell he's a little bit more chunkier in this movie and definitely a lot older. But I was just like, whoa, he looks a lot different. This movie Rocky Balboa, we're in 2006 now, rated PG, and it's an hour and 42 minutes. Rocky Balboa is retired, and he's remembering basically a lot of the past. So in this movie, you see a lot of flashbacks from all the movies put together in this one. So the movie still had the flashbacks, and the movie still brought that swagger from the flashbacks. Also, Balboa now lives back in his hometown of Philadelphia, where it all started. This movie now, you see Rocky Balboa now owning a restaurant. Restaurant's name is Adrian's, so he named it after his wife. The son from the other movies, his real son, is not in this movie, but the acting from the new son, I would say, did a good job and still played that role, and it still fit. Movie continues on with that. There's a virtual fight that's all over ESPN in this movie, and it's broadcasted all over the place. This virtual fight is actually showing Balboa and Dixon, the fighter that's popular, the heavyweight champion, knocking out people, but also a lot of people don't think he's a real champion because his opponents are very weak, got no chance. So his championship run is very like handed to him, and they could see that when they did a computer generated virtual fight between Rocky and Dixon. It showed how crazy Balboa could be into it, and Balboa saw it. So when that virtual fight is shown around the world, it intrigues Rocky. Rocky wants to actually give it a thought, because in that virtual fight he won. After that, Rocky feels that he needs to get back in the ring, not for the title shot, but to just satisfy his love for the game. He still has the love for the game. During that time, Dixon's manager want Rocky Balboa to fight, because Dixon's been getting a lot of not good popcorn ready fights. Dixon's manager goes to Rocky and basically just says, hey, we want to offer you this fight right here. During that time, while Dixon's manager is trying to get Rocky's trying to fix his relationship with his son, because his son doesn't like to feel under Rocky's shadow, because everywhere he goes it's, oh, aren't you Rocky's son this. So you see a lot of that. When the fight is accepted, they're making things right with his son, Paulie, and also another character from the other movies, Duke, Apollo's old manager, is in this movie too. So that's very insane that we're seeing a lot of old characters from the other previous movies into here. So you see that. So now we got Duke, Apollo's former trainer, we got Paulie and Rocky Jr. on the side of the ring for this final match. They're there to see Rocky train and get him in shape and get him ready for this fight. I would just say this movie inspired me so much. You see so much inspiration in this movie. You see inspiration by seeing the dedication, you see the heart for the game, and you see the skill. You see all that involved in here, and the motivation was absolutely insane. And it's one of those things that stuck out with me. It's one of those things you can watch scenes all over again and give you goosebumps, and this is what this movie did. In boxing terms, this movie had nothing but amazing rounds. Every scene was on point. So that's what the movie is about, and very, very inspiring, this movie and this whole franchise in general. Absolutely shocked, and I cannot believe that this movie did not get nominated for nothing. Sylvester Stallone put out one of the best performances that I have ever seen. So much detailed convos between Paulie, his son, him and his brain thinking of the old past. Acting very good. I loved it. Felt very real. You see just how much Rocky Balboa wants it, and he still has a little bit left. There's a lot of, like I said, detailed scenes where what they talk about will be brought up later in the movie, and you'll be like, remember when he talked about that? And what I learned about this too, Sylvester Stallone, while training for this movie, he actually filmed the last scene, the final match scene, first, because he was doing 6 months of training before the movie. And during that time, there was a boxing match. So they actually used that boxing match opportunity to film that scene. And that's why you get that scene over there. So really love how they have the HBO real broadcast look. And they had those 3 commenters. Max Kellerman was there, and then the other 2, I forget their names. The whole vibe was real. So they took advantage of a lot of opportunities. That fact, I didn't know that was a real boxing match, and the crowd there was there to watch another boxing match that was happening that day. I really love the more detail in the camera decisions on making everything way more real. Also, another thing, the punches were real. I heard Stallone had to go through another hospital phase because of so much beating. They're actually hitting each other. Everything in there looks super real. Sylvester Stallone really showed that this movie right here is definitely the last one. Directed by Sylvester Stallone, and once again is written by Sylvester Stallone. So here we go. The swagger of him knowing that this was my project, let me take it over, was definitely felt in this movie. Antonio Tarver, he plays Dixon. I'll say that his acting was good in senses of like, he's just doing his thing. He's cool. He knows he's been knocking out his opponents. He knows Balboa is older and he doesn't really want to fight him in the sense of like, dude, this guy's old, but he's down. Villain status, it held up because at the end of the movie, you just saw that they both were going at each other. And even though other characters in this Rocky Balboa had more emphasis of, I guess, more swagger, like Mr. T had just that look and Drago had another look, this guy looked kind of, I guess, just normal, but still fit the character as well. I do like his approach to fighting Rocky, and I do like his lines. I'll give props to the fact that this fight between them was actually really good. This might be like the top 2 matches from this whole Rocky franchise. Glad they had somebody that fit that boxing swagger. It was good. I really liked it, and it wasn't really too much complaints. He wasn't too much of a show off, and he was just ready to fight whoever he was ready for, to be honest. And he knew that this match was needed to promote himself more, to make him bigger. Milo Ventimiglia, that's Robert Balboa Jr. in the movie. Sylvester Stallone's son didn't come back for this movie, so this is the actor Milo. Right away, the acting was really good. The acting did not look off. He's actually a very good actor. The presence and the performance of those lines felt very heartfelt, and there was a connection between both of them. There's a scene when Rocky Jr. is not liking being under his dad's shadow, and that scene outside the restaurant where Balboa is telling his son like so much detailed stuff, life lessons like crazy. That scene was 11 out of 10. The interaction between both of them, I'm very shocked. It worked very well. Very tough, and that was an intense scene, so he did a good job. Burt Young is also in the movie. Seeing him older is like, man, bro, like, it's crazy how fast. And well, obviously because this movie came out in a very long time and I'm barely seeing it in like in a month span, so seeing the age, seeing everybody get older is a trip to me. But Paulie being older still had that energy to just be loud. The acting was good, the emotions were poured out very well. It's just very good to see Paulie in here. Paulie still had that old swagger, and then seeing Paulie at the last match being there with Rocky, and then him telling him like, this is the final round, this is your last your last round, last fight type stuff. Goosebumps like crazy, because when he said that, like, you know, this was the final one. The lines in here for Paulie were on point, man. Paulie, another standout. This movie brought some characters from the first Rocky. You see Spider. Seeing Spider Rico here from the first Rocky movie was actually a trip. Balboa is actually helping him out in the movie get a job, so he's working at the restaurant. Marie was in the first movie as well. The fact that she came in for this movie, such a trip. You can see how small the world is. That happened years ago and she came back. Very insane. I really loved how that was full circle right there, and it worked really well. And I love Marie's acting, her being older, and she has a son. Time is flying. She has a son named Steps. The son was cool too. The son didn't bother. He wasn't acting like a hard-headed kid. Very cool. Interaction between him and Rocky was dope. You see Duke back in the movie, Apollo's old trainer. I love the talk between Duke and Rocky when he's saying, like, you can't do the same training that you used to do. You have to do things a little bit different. Just love that. So much growth. Love that the characters are still there. The characters that built the movie are still there, and everything flowed very well. Duke being in here was awesome. A shocker in the movie, you see Mike Tyson show up. Seeing Mike Tyson fit the whole boxing vibe, I was like, yo, that's super crazy. I wish they used more of him. I heard there was like a deleted scene as well with Mike Tyson that actually had more interaction with Rocky. I wish I could see that, and I wish they put that in the movie. There's a lot of deleted scenes in this movie. I really wish that they put them in here. Couple fun facts about this movie that I thought was absolutely insane. This movie had alternate endings. With the one I watched, obviously it went the distance and the decision went for Dixon, but there's also in the DVD or in the other versions where you can actually choose how you want the movie to end. That's really dope, that you could see Rocky ending with a victory, or you could see it, you know, Rocky losing. But interesting fact that you can choose how you want the ending to be in the DVD version. Another fun fact, Adrian's grave that you see in the movie is actually in Philly, so they actually have that grave in Philly. You see Paulie in the movie with paintings. Burt Young is actually a painter, so a lot of those paintings he's holding, he actually worked on, so that was pretty dope. Last one I want to give, it's not on the DVD deleted scenes version at all, but supposedly in this movie there's a scene where Rocky actually sees a female that looks like Adrian, and Rocky's in his head so much that actually he goes up to her, and when he approaches her, he realizes that's not Adrian. But they didn't keep that anywhere because they thought that was making him look a lot lonelier, and this movie already put that vibe out there. But that would have been very, very interesting, to be honest. Final match is very insane because you see how high def and great the last scene is from all the other movies. Last fight has the definition of HBO pay-per-view, a real sports look. Crazy to see Balboa fight in the ring at that age, to be honest. And then everything in there looked real. The punches were actually real punches. This movie did a good job on the sound effects. The camera angles are crazy. The slow motion high def shots where you see all the sweat, very good. Obviously seeing Duke on the ringside, Rocky Jr. and Paulie, all crazy. The last final fight, insane. And then the last round was absolutely crazy too, because Rocky is absolutely out of it, and then he just goes into his deep thought flashback moments, and there's a lot of dope quotes when he's talking about it, and he just goes all in. Goosebumps is crazy, and I'm just like very happy that I saw this movie. Very thankful for what I watched. This franchise is a franchise that almost everything I do, it just reminds me of Rocky this, Rocky that. Cheering from the crowd was dope. Seeing Rocky in general, you can tell that this was the last one. I had more words to say because everything I'm saying is such an understatement. And then after that final match, you see Rocky back at Adrian's grave. That right there was so crazy, and there was a lot of tears that were definitely held back. But seeing that final scene right there, and then Rocky disappears, you definitely know what happened with him disappearing. The Rocky movie watch is now over. Can only imagine how people back then when these came out felt. They waited years to watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it took me just about a month to watch all of them. Absolutely insane. After my watching Rocky Balboa, out of 10, I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10. So that's my movie review for the movie Rocky Balboa. Shout out to you guys for tuning into the video, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all.